Hi all, we're at the Motorsport Arena Oschersleben in the Formula Vee. This is a tricky track and even trickier to pass at due to all the high-speed bends, so let's get into it. So, qualified P6, not too bad considering this is only the second time I've actually raced on this track. So here we go, get quite a decent start, so does everyone else though. Other than SpongeBob here, who I'm hoping I could beat down to the first bend, but he does pick up a draft and I didn't because I was keeping myself out of the way. So I've decided I'm going to let him have the run through on me, and someone loses it ahead and he ploughs into the side of him. So I did get quite lucky there, because had I gone through first that could have been me. So now mirrors are full of cars, cover the inside line to start with. He's not going to make a move, so I move back over to the outside to get the faster line through the bend. Now I'm just trying to stay in the draft of the three cars ahead of me. Formula V, it's all about trying to stay in that draft. If you lose it, it's very, very hard to pick it back up, especially on this track. This track, there's not really any slow corners at all, so you can't afford to lose any time, as you'll see in a few moments coming up. So coming up to this funny little section here, cut the corner, and then roll off power, and then back on the power at the end of that no cut curb, and then flat out down to the bridge. And just as we get to the bridge, we're going to hit the brakes slightly, dump it down to third, turn in. I did get it a little bit squirrely there. Got quite lucky though, as the car behind me did as well, and now the people around him are jumping all over him to try and get past him. So you see into this last turn here, they all fight for position and they lose an absolute bucket of time on me. So now staying in the draft, flat out down to the first bend. Get out wide, turn in hard on the brakes, hit third gear, and then wait for that grip to come in, and then flat out again. So just by a couple of people battling behind me, you can see the gap that's already opening up. That's what I mean with this track. It's so one line. If you make a move on someone, you've got to be able to make it stick, because if you don't get it right, you're going to lose so much time on cars ahead of you or behind you. And this was pretty much my race after this. These guys ahead of me are all in the sort of 4K iRacing bracket, so way more experienced than I am. I just did my absolute best to keep up with them as best I possibly could. I think they went across the line 2.5, 3 seconds ahead of me, so I didn't do too badly, but I was never going to catch them. So we've edited out the middle laps, because it's very much just the same thing. There was carnage going on behind me, but I'll show that to you a little bit later on. So here we come to the end of lap 2, and we will pick it all up in just a minute. So here we are, final lap of the race. As I said before, not a lot happened. Got 3 cars ahead of me, and I was never going to catch them. I was hoping that one of them might make a mistake, or one might make a bit of a crazy move through the race somewhere, but it never came. So P4 was all I was ever really going to manage, but I was honestly really quite happy with that. I don't know this track that well, so yeah, it was my absolute best. These are very, very fast guys ahead of me. They were lapping 143 mid, and I was lapping low 144s, so I was losing quite a bit. And then even if one of them did make a bit of an ambitious move and slow the pack down, it was never enough for me to try and catch up. I thought maybe that these last 3 or 4 bends, the red mist would descend. For one of them, they'd go for a bit of a crazy move, and, you know, spin out and take one with them or something like that, so I could take a podium. But no, they've got far too much experience to do something that silly. So just coming to the final lap, final turn. And over the line for a P4. Okay, so let's get into the crashes that occurred. So this was just off the start, turn 1. You see my car on the left there. This is the guy trying to beat down to turn 1. I didn't make it. I had to brake a bit earlier, and yeah, that's sadly what happened to him. The guy lost it just in front of him. He had nowhere to go, so yeah. So these were the 4 guys who were behind me on lap 1. Now we're just coming on to lap 2 here, so run down to turn 1. One gets a draft and they decide to head 3 wide into the first bend. There's only one way this is going to end. Mathematical certainty, that one. Here is SpongeBob here, goes for a move up the inside, and really unfortunate bit of net coding there. The guy was absolutely screaming his head off at that point. Here's my old mate Desmo, and he self-spins on that one and collects someone else. Here is the guy who was behind him, unluckily tries to go around one way and the car goes the same way as him. Unfortunate, that one. And here is Desmo again. He turns, powers on, and loses it mid-bend again. Thomas, unfortunately, this is the last lap, hits a sausage, wipes out, gets a very lucky recovery, but he's in the wrong gear now. And loses 2 places, 2 bends before the end of the race. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.